Today is Behind all of this lies a trail of disappearances. We have had reports of missing Robloxians be last seen within these woods. While doing fieldwork, I came across a walled village, able to house maximum 60 people from what I gather. Only a cart leaves the village in the morning to bring back supplies. Otherwise, there is no movement out. However, there is occasionally a person who leaves to gather firewood, quickly running back once their hands are full. I cannot continue further for now, as I'm beginning to hear activity inside the walls. I will update this tomorrow. Goodbye.
Today is I have set up a small outpost on a cliff. It's hard to see, but I am able to catch glimpses at the inside through the trees. The village has several buildings set up for specific purposes, such as housing, greenhouse, and a large church which the villagers gather to. The buildings are aged and showing signs of decay. However, the villagers have been fixing it up. I assume this village has been around for way longer than I initially thought. Faces are hard to make out, but I have been able to identify 3 individuals in particular. Individual B wears heavily decorated blue-gray clothing. They are likely the chief for the village. Individual A, the firewood gatherer, is often lingering around Individual B. However, they often pass by Individual A without a glance. I assume the two have a parental bond. However, it appears to be one-sided. In fact, it seems Individual A lacks connections to the villagers, often ignored or given a simple glance. Individual A has a companion, Individual C. I'm unsure what their relation is, but they appear to be close. Individual C seems to be the village's herbalist, assisting the sick and helping others. Nighttime is beginning to set. I am withdrawing for now to format my notes. It'll be a full moon soon. It's dangerous wandering alone now with the admin's disappearance. There doesn't seem to be a connection with them in this village. I will update this tomorrow. Goodbye. Today is I saw Individual A and Individual C sneak out of the village at night. They traveled a bit farther into a small flower field, where they started talking and writing on scraps of paper. I pushed my luck today and managed to sneak up behind them with my recorder. A transcription is below. Please be aware I was quite a distance away, so I wasn't able to catch a majority of the conversation. Ignore my speaking quirk. Unfortunately, I subconsciously leaned a bit too far and stepped on a twig, causing the two to jump up in alarm and run back to the village. I'm unsure what exactly the spawn symbol has to do with 2x2. I need to look into it further. What I do know is that the 2x2 is the essence of all Robloxians. It allows us to create and build. The 2x2 is one of the most sacred aspects of Roblox. Without it, we aren't anything. Is it possible the village studies our history? Why would there be disappearances? Are the disappearances unrelated? I'm going to keep following this lead for now. Tomorrow, I'm going to observe Individual B. I will update this tomorrow. Goodbye. Today is I spent most of the day observing Individual B. They spent long hours within the church, but would sometimes leave on occasion. Due to the way that they dressed and how they acted, I can confirm their status is that of a higher-up. Likely the elder that Individual A mentioned. Individual B walked around the village checking in and/or comforting many of the villagers. The strangest behavior I saw was when Individual A attempted conversation, only to be brushed aside because another villager got in the way. Later that night, when the moon was just barely visible in the sky, a gathering was called. I'm not sure what exactly I saw, but I can only assume it was some type of sermon. These large banners of the spawn symbol were hung up while the elder lectured the villagers. The spawn symbol I keep seeing shown around is just an admin logo, isn't it? Doesn't exactly have any backing. I can only assume that this village practices a religion focused on the symbol as some type of god. After the sermon, they had a curfew where all the villagers were told to return to their housing. Later, I saw the elder checking around the side of the church alone, ensuring no one else saw. What they failed to see was Individual C watching through a window. I was barely able to see the blinds move. There has to be something behind there. Could it be some kind of cellar? The elder left the back and to their own housing. I need to find out more about the religion. I hope there's still some type of connection to the disappearances. Is it possible? Today is Apologies for yesterday. The wind suddenly picked up speed, causing me trip and drop my things. One of those things being my laptop, which fell over the ledge. I spent basically the rest of the day transferring my files. Anyways, image of the booklet. The attire of the villagers seemed to vary. If I had to assume, they gave custom-made clothing depending on the time spent here. The older-looking villagers had jewelry and long gray robes, while the younger-looking ones looked like they wore looser, more worn clothing, perhaps hand-me-downs. If I had to guess the average age of the village itself, it would probably about 40. Mainly because of the abundance of older Robloxians compared to the middle-aged ones. Fortunately for me, I had a stroke of luck today. Their supply cart had tipped over, and after they left, I saw a notebook had been left behind. While I was initially excited, it was just my luck that the notebook lied in a puddle. On the side is a scan of one of the pages. I was able to summarize most of the text while waiting for the next sermon. Reading some of the text, it feels like a mockery of 2x2. Their ideology speaks of renewal after death, how the spawn, a child of 2x2, will guide them through this life and the next. My research so far appears to be correct. The religion's name is Home For The Reborn. I can only assume those sermons are ways of fear-mongering and scare tactics. They appear to show their devotion through prayer, with those inside taught to fear anything beyond their home. Every full moon, there is some kind of banquet to be held. It is held for the chosen, who is given the opportunity to be worthy. I've written a longer summary on the overview. Tonight's sermon was more or less the same. I am too far away to tell what the elder was saying. I noticed the elder conversated a lot with another figure who was completely hidden behind a robe. I saw this and looked I spent most of the day observing Individual C. As I stated earlier, they are the village herbalist. They spend most of their time in the greenhouse tending to the various greenery that's set up. Otherwise, I noticed them staring at Individual A and Individual B through the glass. Later in the day, Individual C left the greenhouse with Individual A to the flower field from a few days ago. They continued to talk and study, mainly Individual C listening to Individual A, smiling and nodding. Cute. They are whispering with each other now. Correction. They kissed. Very cute. Over at the village, they seem to be prepping for the banquet with banners and decorations. Soon, I'll have to report this to the local authorities. The world these villagers have is puppeted by a monster. I find it strange Individual C isn't dressed up like Individual A is. Does this imply Individual C hasn't been in the village since birth? They are suspicious of the elder and Individual D, as if they don't share the blind faith ingrained in the other villagers, especially Individual A. This is wishful thinking, but I wonder if Individual C wants to leave this place. The audio log from a few days ago showed they had that thought. Why did they come to here in the first place? What happened to make them stay? Why did they come to here in the first place? What happened to make them stay? Why are they fine with the immoral practices of the village? It isn't possible they aren't aware as they study with Individual A. What keeps Individual C here? I know Individual A still clings onto their religion, onto the elder. That's all I gathered. My investigation continues. I need to report this place soon. The full moon is tomorrow. I will update this tomorrow. Goodbye.
Hey, this is #RushedAsHell, but I saw Individual C enter the basement. They argued with Individual A before booking it to that #CuteFlowerField. I'm trying to #take a look, but it's hard to see. Individual A is trailing behind Individual C with a knife. What the fuck is that? It is that symbol. I have to take a
These are what I understand of the family home for the reborn so far. Within this forest is a trail of disappearances. Individual A is a laborer, socially isolated from their other villagers, has a parental bond to Individual B, Individual C's partner. Individual B is the village elder, often comforts other villagers and teaches sermons after sundown, hiding something behind the church. The sermons are nothing more than ways to fear-monger the villagers into complete devotion and control. Individual C is a herbalist, suspicious of the elder for some reason. Individual A's partner. Members are isolated from the outside world, taught to fear it. A religious group that worships the spawn symbol, who is a child of 2x2. They believe the spawn will guide them through this life and the next. The villagers have little autonomy over themselves. They are taught that they need to be forgiven and freed. As such, they submit to divine mandate that the elder has over them. Lack of young adults within the village. Every full moon there is a banquet held in the name of the chosen. The chosen is given the chance to be worthy, sacrificed in the name of their god. Only the elders are allowed to sanction this. This implies the existence of multiple elders. The body of the chosen is then cleansed and removed from this land. Through and through, this is a cult, especially one that sacrifices their youth to a god. Horrible.